Hello and welcome to this week's Shutter Sports Refresh. This is the weekly show that gives you all the big news in sports. I'm your host Finn Noel, and I'm currently in a hotel room on vacation, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop giving you guys all the sports news you need to hear. October is a very busy month for sports, so I have a lot to tell you. Let's get into it. As per usual, we'll start off this week with some MLB baseball, where the second round or the division series is now over, and we move on to the semifinals or the conference series. In those division series, it's New York fans that should be happy because the New York Mets and the New York Yankees made easy work of the Philadelphia Phillies and the Kansas City Royals respectively. The Mets and the Yankees both won their series in just 4 games, while the other 2 series went in 5. The 2 other teams left are the LA Dodgers and Cleveland Guardians. On Friday, Game 5 between the LA Dodgers and the San Diego Padres went down, and the Padres actually ended up being held scoreless. It was the LA Dodgers pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto who ended up holding the Padres scoreless as the Dodgers win 2-0 in Game 5. The other 5-game series was between the Cleveland Guardians and Detroit Tigers. That Game 5 went down on Saturday, and the Guardians ended up crushing the Tigers 7-3. In the 5th inning, the Guardians ended up running away with it, scoring 5 runs. It'll be the Yankees facing off against the Guardians in the ALCS game. That'll go down tonight. And in the NLCS, it's the Dodgers taking on the Mets. That series has already started, and the Dodgers are up 1-0. We'll keep you updated if you come back next week. We'll move on to college football now, where as per usual, this week was loaded with great games. The best game of the week was between Alabama and South Carolina, which came down to an overturned touchdown. Nick Harbor makes the catch, but it's overturned. South Carolina then needs a 2-point conversion to send the game to overtime, but it ends up going incomplete and Alabama walks away with the win. A game that did end up going to overtime was Penn State and USC. In the overtime, both offenses ended up going cold and settling for field goals. The only difference is the Trojans missed their field goal while Penn State made theirs. Penn State ends up taking that game home by 3. Next, we have another game that was also decided by just a field goal. This one was between Ohio State and Oregon made a field goal to go up by 2 and ended up stopping Ohio State's attempt to come back. Those 3 games were the biggest of the week, but there were so many more exciting games, I just have to put all the scores on the screen for you. One thing I do have to mention though is Ashton Jeanty of Boise State, who's having an incredible season and continued that with a 217-yard game against Hawaii. What an incredible year. We'll move on to hockey now, where the NHL regular season has been going on for just over a week now and the standings are sort of set. I'll give you a bit of an overview of how the standings are looking so far. In the Metropolitan Division, it's the New Jersey Devils who are in first. In the Atlantic Division, it's a 3-way tie with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens, and Boston Bruins. Looking in the Western Conference, it's the Vegas Golden Knights and Calgary Flames that are all undefeated, and in the Central Division, it's the Dallas Stars, Winnipeg Jets, and new startup Utah Hockey Club that are all undefeated as well. The Utah Hockey Club used to be the Arizona Coyotes before they moved last year, and the poor fans in Arizona must be devastated that it took just one move to make their team good. It's just the start of the season though, and the standings could change at any point, so make sure to come back next week and I'll let you know if anything happens. And for our most exciting piece of news this week, the WNBA Finals is tied up at 1-1. In Game 1, it was the Minnesota Lynx's Courtney Williams who made a 4-point play to tie the game, and they ended up winning in overtime. In Game 2 though, the New York Liberty struck right back with an 80-66 dominant win. This series is the best of 5 games, so we've only got 3 games left in the WNBA season. Game 3 tips off on Wednesday, so make sure to tune into that, and if you miss it, come back here and we'll let you know what happened. As for European soccer this week, there's been a bit of a break around Europe, so no games are happening this week. Make sure to come back next week and we'll let you know what happened. We've got some minor news in tennis this week as well, as the Shanghai Masters and the Wuhan Open both took place. The Shanghai Masters tournament was won by Jannik Sinner in a tough finals matchup against Novak Djokovic, and the Wuhan Open was won by Aryan Sabalenka against Qinwen Zheng. Both Sinner and Sabalenka were the top seeds in these tournaments, so it only makes sense that they won. Congratulations to both. And for our last piece of news here, the United States Grand Prix starts up next week, so make sure to keep your F1 calendars open. And as always, if you missed the race, we'll be right here to let you know what happened. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Shutter Sports Refresh. I've been your host Finn Noel, and you can check out my social media down below. You can also check out Shutter Sports Media, they'll be down here as well. And don't forget about the writer for this episode, Lucky Roberts. Hopefully I was able to make your week just a little bit better, and I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching.